Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Harris and Me by Gary Paulsen, narrated by Stephen Boyer.
Chapter 1, in which I meet Harris and am exposed for the first time to the vagaries of inflation. Meeting Harris would never have happened were it not for liberal quantities of Schlitz and 4 Roses. For nearly all of my remembered childhood, there was an open bottle of Schlitz on a table. My parents drank 4 Roses professionally, from jelly jars, neat, without diluting ice, water, or mix. They were, consequently, vegetables most of the time, although the term vegetable connotes a feeling of calm that did not exist. They went through 3 phases of drunkenness: buzzed, happy; drunk, mean as snakes; and finally, obliterated, 4 Roses coma. Unfortunately, the buzzed, or happy stage only lasted a short time, and it grew shorter as time progressed until they were pretty much mean whenever they were conscious. Home became, finally, something of an impossibility for me, and I would go to stay with relatives for extended periods of time. By the time I was 11, I had stayed with several uncles, my grandmother, and an old Norwegian bachelor farmer who thought God lived in the haymow of his barn, where he was afraid to go without wearing a feed sack over his head. He told me God couldn't see through feed sacks, and if God couldn't see you, you never died. I had many uncles and shirt-tail relatives, and when I was 11, a kind of rotation dumped me with Harris and his family. The sheriff sent a deputy to pick me up, and we left for the Larsen's place in late afternoon. They lived on a farm 40 miles north of the town I lived in, yet it might as well have been on a different planet. The ride took about an hour and a half, but it went through such varied terrain that before we had gone 5 miles, I was in despair. For 2 or 3 of those miles, the car moved past farm country that still seemed rather settled. Frequently, there were tractors working in the fields and people who waved cheerfully, walking down the sides of the road. But soon the trees closed in, closer and thicker until they were a wall on either side, and the road and car were enveloped in a curtain of green darkness. And there were no more open fields or driveways, just dirt tracks that disappeared into the forest and brush. It was like going off the edge of the earth on those old maps used by early explorers, into places where it said, "There be monsters here." The deputy I was with spit constantly out the side window.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?